Tanse, Jenny Laderoute nitsihkason. Igwagiftlay ko tinia. Wia hatu tamano he. Achamo na kagipewasiwian. 1950s, early 60s kagihawasiwian. Gwamatunim stahikway nigisksin. Matun stahitagihachamoyan. Expigiftlake. Muchawayaw kwantiti sa kagihuigiak. Maga kikchamak sumin kahkiawiak. Moi uhuitsasen suskwata saasipuihtiikta pa maatsuhuk. We miskanawa moi tsimioasna moi kihtsanawiak utapanaskwa huhtsayawiu. Makoiksisen duhayanan. Taiskuts waskutip tsigana. Gemostiponinan. Makoisiwip tsigana. Guatapue saastokihtimagan. Magamin kihmioasen. Gohanotsum kawih mamskutaman. Tansigay semita uyak. Matsiganipak simon. Tamiwihtami kohe ndachamona. Hi, my name is Jen Laderoute, and I'm from Gift Lake, Alberta. I'm telling stories on YouTube about the memories I have from my childhood. I was a child in the 1950s and early 1960s. So, and I remember a lot. I have a lot of stories I can tell of how life was back then. Gift Lake was just a small, tiny, isolated community in the north. We didn't have access to technology, to modern amenities. The roads in and out of Gift Lake were not that great, and very few people had vehicles. So, but life was good. I have a lot of stories about how people lived, how people made a living, how the community was. I remember how it looked, and today I'm going to be talking about how we played and some of the things that we did. I couldn't possibly cover everything, but just to give you an idea, I'll just talk about some of the things we did to entertain ourselves, because play was a non-stop pursuit. That was our job. After we were done our chores, our job was to play. Nothing else. I'm not sure if that's true for kids today. But we were poor, definitely. We didn't have store-bought toys. We didn't have things like birthday parties even. There was 10 children in my family. And the only time we got toys was at Christmas. We would get one toy. So we played with whatever was available. But we played from morning until night began to fall. We had our creativity and our imaginations to rely on. There were places to go and things to do. Anything that moved, we chased. Butterflies, grasshoppers, birds, chipmunks, you name it, we chased it. Anything that we could gather from the wild that was edible, we ate it. Berry picking was a pastime. Anything we could turn into a toy, or any idea we could turn into a game, we did. All we needed was a piece of glass, and hopscotch was happening. A length of rope, and we were skipping. A few sticks, we were playing prisoner's base. Sticks and a blindfold, we had some kind of game going. We played tag games, hide and seek, all these games that you might remember. But kids might not necessarily even know about them today. We even made up some of our games. I remember one game we called Wihtago o Taskikwa. And it kind of, I don't know if I can come to an actual translation, but it's something about like a monster is coming. We did have a few toys, I remember. I remember we had a hula hoop. We had a few toys that we shared, like we had a bike. My older brother had a bike, so we had a boy's bike in the family. And we all learned to ride using that big boy's bike. So we had a family bike. We had family skates even. I remember learning to skate on using my big brother's old skates because he had gotten a new pair, probably at Christmas. Skating was a big winter activity. I mean, we had the lake close by. Balls and bats. We had balls and bats. We lived amongst cousins, so there were balls and bats around. I remember boxing gloves. I think Uncle Gordon's family had a pair of boxing gloves. So that was another activity for an evening. And I really think it may have been the parents' ideas for their kids to box. Because they would come out and watch and cheer on their kids and clap and come on. And the kids, like, we are just throwing punches at each other. We are just trying our hardest to win the fight. And there would be, a bloody nose here and there. A kid would cry, then they'd be out and somebody else would get suited up with these boxing gloves and other matches happening. I think it was more something for the parents than the kids. I know I didn't want to box. Oh, I didn't, but we all had to be good sports, and it wasn't too bad because I usually got paired up with my younger brother. Now, he was a little bit bigger than I was, and he didn't have much of a match. I would just lose in 10 seconds or less because I didn't want to box, so I would just start crying. He probably wasn't too happy to just throw a 3 or 4 punches and it was over. But I remember one time I got matched up with my cousin Barb, slightly younger, slightly smaller than I was, and I lost. She gave me a bloody nose. I was so embarrassed. In the winter, we played outside a lot. Whether it was cold or even while it was snowing, we would be out there playing. I remember the snow used to be so high. I mean, it snowed a lot when I was a kid. And a couple of times through the winter, we would get like a chinook that would melt the snow, and then when it froze up again, there was a crust on top of the snow, like a pretty thick crust that we could, as kids, we could walk on, we could run on top of the snow. Every once in a while we'd fall through, but it was tough enough to run around on top of the snow, and we were able to make caves. So even the Chinooks were fun because it would be a real warm wind and the road would get real icy and we'd play on there. We'd skate on the road when that happened. Edward, my older brother, next to me, he was the toy maker in the family. He made the sleds, the slingshots, the bow and arrows, the toy guns. Well, it was mostly boy toys, it seems, but we played with them too. I remember he made a tree house. He made stilts. I believe he helped Dad make the swing and the teeter-totter. But anyway, yeah, he was our toy maker. We made our own dolls. There was no Barbies. I remember one time we actually had material to make it with, the dolls with, and the activity was the most fun part of it. Bravery and daring. Oh, we had plenty of that too. A pastime was jumping off buildings, such as barns, sheds, climbing trees. Soon became a competition as to who could climb the highest, and sometimes, a kid would fall off the tree way high from up there. I'm amazed that there weren't more broken bones. Actually, I only remember one time there was a broken bone, and that wasn't even from a high place. My younger sister Joyce broke her arm falling off the merry-go-round. That's the only broken bone I remembered happening in our childhood, and we did some dangerous things. Cowboys and Indians. Yeah, we played Cowboys and Indians. We watched the old Western movies where the cowboys were the good guys and the Indians were the bad guys. So when it came time to play, guess what? Nobody wanted to be an Indian. We all wanted to be the cowboy and be the good guy. Oh my gosh. Because that was how it was presented to us through that movie screen. So that was, our reference and the concept that we had of cowboys. Playing house took up many hours. We made mud pies. We took stuff Mom was going to throw out, like an old cracked plate or some cans or stuff we may have picked up at the dump. We played with them in our playhouse, but they became fine china in our playhouse. I remember one time the boys joined us. Oh, we were happy the boys were going to play house with us. So we assigned, the different roles, and the older kids, the older girls were the moms, and they took care of the little children, and the boys went out to hunt. I think they had slingshots, and they actually came back with a kill. A tiny little bird. A little bird. That was what they brought back that they killed. So then we had this big discussion. What are we going to do with this bird? So in the end, we decided, okay, let's pretend it's a duck and prepare it the way Mom prepares the ducks. So we plucked the feathers off and, we made a fire. So after we plucked the feathers off, we singed the fluffy stuff left, the way Mom does with ducks, and we got a pot and we boiled it. We boiled this little bird. And after it was done, after we thought it was cooked, nobody wanted to eat it. Nope, not eating the little bird. And the boys left because they had made their big kill already, so they lost interest. But thinking of it now, it's like, homage, poor little bird. Car tires were great toys. Car tires, the black part of it, the rubber part, we pushed them around. We just pushed them around the community. A fun part was pushing them down the hill to see whose tire would go the furthest before it falls. But one of the things I remember about the car tires is I was small enough to be made to be one to curl up inside a tire and get pushed around. It was a very dizzy ride, and I'd be pretty dirty and dusty. It was usually my big brother Edward that would push me around. I'm just glad he didn't push me down the hill. Speaking of hill, there was a great big hill in the middle of Gift Lake. It's gone now. They used it to make roads in Gift Lake or something. But when I was a child, there was this big hill, high hill. It was high and it was long. It was long. To slide down, you had a long slide down this hill. And it was a very busy place. All summer long, all winter long, it was a playground for not just us, but the kids in the community. In the summer, we played tag games up there, played hopscotch up there, skip rope, or even just hang out, because you could see most of Gift Lake from there. It was that small. In the winter, the hill was a very busy place. Every kid in the community had a sled. I believe they were probably all homemade. Then we discovered that car hoods could go down the hill very fast and carry a bunch of kids at once, like maybe 10. And so we would push this car hood to get going, and I'll jump in, and down the hill we go, and hauling, yelling and screaming and just having a ball. And then we discovered that, or the boys started to hook these car hoods together to make a train. So there'd be about 3 or 4 hoods hooked onto each other, and go down the hill. And it seemed the more kids, the faster these car hoods went. But it was fun. The kids all going down the hill, having a ball, just like maybe 30 or 40 kids in one run. So yeah, car hoods are pretty good sleighs. It was actually probably kind of dangerous by the time we stopped. The car hoods would be like bumping into each other. They were our bumper cars. We had a beautiful beach, and it wasn't very far from where we lived. 2-3 minutes, we're there. Nice beach, nice water. So we'd go over there and play. No adult, just the kids. But, like I said earlier, play was our full-time pursuit. That was what we did. But we also had our daily chores, and they had to be done before we could go outside to play. We never thought to complain about our chores or try to get out of them. they were just a part of life, and they had to be done. We knew our jobs. There were times, we had, my sister and I, we had inside chores, which was washing dishes and folding diapers, doing anything else that Mom needed help with, carrying babies. And there were times when Mom would call either myself or my older sister in to come and carry a crying baby. I hated that. Interrupt my playtime just to come in and carry a bawling baby. But, we had to do that to help Mom. We had outdoor chores. There were many. The older boys chopped the wood, and we had to haul them inside into the house. And we had to get water from the creek in pails a couple times a day, maybe, unless Dad was home and he was able to go and get like a 45 gallon barrels of water. Then we got a break from hauling water. We had to haul snow in the winter. That was our water source. So there were many daily chores, and there were also the chores that we did periodically throughout the year, such as raking leaves in the fall. Oh, I loved it, and I looked forward to it. What a geek. Because we had fun playing in the leaves that we had raked. And we had to help Dad plant a garden. We had to help Dad plant a garden, and he had a big garden every year. Lots of potatoes, big garden. Big garden of vegetables of all kinds. He allowed us to plant the vegetables that had big seeds like peas, beans. He patiently showed us how far apart to place the seeds and how deep, and then to cover them back up with dirt. So that was fun. I loved planting the garden. And during the summer, if Mom needed vegetables from the garden, she would tell us to go pick vegetables, which ones to pick, and dig up potatoes. Then we didn't just go dump them on her with the dirt on the carrots or the turnip or the potatoes. Oh no, we had to wash. We washed them first, just no question, before we took them in for her to prepare. Time to harvest the potatoes. Oh, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to get home from school. Dad used a piece of horse-drawn equipment to dig up the potatoes, and then the potatoes would just be left on top. And so then it was our job to pick up the potatoes and put them in pails. Then Dad came along with a wagon to pick them up, filled to the brim with potatoes. It was a task for the whole family, but we didn't look at it as work. We raced around, we competed with each other, who could fill up the most pails. We formed teams. We made different games out of picking these potatoes and putting them in pails. It was fun, and the whole family was involved, and we would work till dark. So that was I love that. Mom also designated a cleanup day in the spring. she told us to hurry home right after school. Don't stop anywhere. As if we didn't hurry home and go straight from home after school every day. But, it was something else we did as a family. And with all of us pitching in, we got the yard cleaned up in one evening. Curfew was when Mama called you. After a hard day of play, it was time to go home. Our parents couldn't just pick up the phone and call us to come home. But the parents in Gift Lake literally called their children when it was time to go home. There'd be the first parent that would start calling their kids to come home. Then another parent shortly after, and those kids would start running home. So we would wait for our mom to call us. Instead of just running home, we would wait for her to call us. Edward! Biggie Wee! Jenny! Biggie Wee! Come home. So we knew better than to try and stay and not go home right away, because if we tried to stay, any of the kids, our parents would be coming out there with a switch in hand. Yeah. Curfew was when Mama called you. But we were never bored. I don't recall a time that we were at a loss of what to do next. Playtime options were many. All we had to do was choose which activity to do next. Usually it was the older kids who decided the activity. We just went along. Our imaginations, they knew no boundaries. And play choices were never exhausted. Never bored. No concept of being bored. What was that? To me, a board was a piece of wood. But these are the things that make great memories. They didn't cost anything. Our parents didn't have to entertain us. But I know life today is very different. But I am so happy that I had the privilege, I call it a privilege, to have the childhood that I did. I hope you enjoyed my story today. Igosemaga.